Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of Broncos Beat. All right, you guys, Drew Lock, check. Jerry Jeudy, check. Derrick Henry, check. We all know that those guys are going to play a huge role in the outcome of this game here tonight, but I know there are also a number of guys that we haven't mentioned yet. So, Cecil, let's go ahead and start with you. Who are some of the other X factors on the field tonight that we haven't talked about?
This team has struggled to cover tight ends for years and years and years. So for me, people go, well, who's the Titans tight end? That's Jonnu Smith. This is a very talented kid, came at FIU a few years ago, had to learn behind Delanie Walker. He's as good, if not better, now without Walker there. And now I look to Alexander Johnson. I look to Josie Jewell. This team's going to run a lot of base with Derrick Henry. You're going to line up. They're going to be in heavy personnel. You're going to think, oh, they're running the ball, and they can play action, and they can pass this thing, and they can attack your inside linebackers who are on the field because you think it's a rundown, because it is a rundown, or you think it's a heavy package, so they're going to run the ball. So how do you cover tight ends? Again, it's been a struggle for this Broncos team for years. Jonnu Smith is better than most people realize, and he can get away from you if you're not careful.
I'm going to go with the battle of the AJs, right? Like AJ Brown versus AJ Boye. And I want to know right off the bat, and I think we'll know early if this is the AJ Boye from a couple of years ago, or is this the one that played last season and we saw in Jacksonville struggle, and he's going to have his hands full with AJ Brown. Every scout I talked to was like, yeah, DK Metcalf's great. They ran him, fade route to go route. They ran AJ Brown every single route imaginable because he can do that. Inside, outside, he was all over the field. This is a superstar emerging in the NFL after 1 year. How does AJ Boye handle AJ Brown?
Well, my X factor, guys, is recently acquired Jadeveon Clowney. When you talk about game records, he is definitely that. So trying to see how Lloyd Cushenberry, Dalton Reisner, and Graham Glasgow, how they're going to try to contain him, that is definitely going to be interesting. Do you try to run at Jadeveon Clowney? Do you run away from him if you're Pat Shermer? But we know that this guy is a disruptor. He's looking for an NFL contract, a big deal. He didn't get it this offseason. But Monday Night Football is where most players love to shine, and Jadeveon Clowney is going to be one of those players that we definitely have to keep our eye on.
Well, and I think that both Nick and James, you guys have brought it up. It's AJ Boye. I think the biggest X factor here is how does he perform? Because, Nick, you talked about his performance against Derrick Henry. I'll go back to the last time he faced AJ Brown. And what was it, James, like 140 yards and a touchdown, something like that for A.J. Brown? And, again, this guy's a top 10 receiver in the league. So it's not only, like Nick was bringing up, in Boye in terms of run defense, but I think also that pass defense, which comes down to pressure, which comes back to the X factor. Again, this is such a great topic because now we can talk about no Von Miller. And not that I'm excited about that. Nobody should be. But if you're not getting pressure, if you're leaving those corners on an island, you're asking for trouble because of what A.J. Brown can do, Jonnu Smith can do. And, oh, yeah, you still got to stop Derrick Henry. So where's the pressure come from? Is Malik Reed the X factor? I mean, that's my question.
What it's worth, the A.J. Brown stat was 4 for 135 and a touch, just so you know.
Okay.
That's pretty good, though. Cecil, hey, off the top of his head, he was right there.
Pretty close.
Yeah, well, is Malik Reed going to get pretty close, fellas? That's what I want to know.
You guys, I think this is going to be a really close game. Is there a chance that maybe Brandon McManus, $17 million man, might be your X factor?
Hopefully his pockets aren't weighing him down. That leg can still swing.
Special teams is going to be big. I know Nick always loves talking about special teams, but you mentioned it. McManus, just a return game. Deontay Spencer, yet again, another X factor for this game.
All right, AJ Boye, AJ Brown, maybe even special teams, all potential X factors to keep your eyes peeled for tonight.